Medical school applications is right around the corner, and one of the hardest decisions to make is choosing your medical school. Allow me to make that decision even harder by introducing to you West Visayas State University College of Medicine. Hello everyone, I'm Lance Cabrera. The doc is almost in, and for this video, I'll be sharing to you my school, my medical school, West Visayas State University's College of Medicine. So for this video, we'll just be talking about what it is and how it is studying in WVSU and why you should choose this school as your option in choosing your medical school. Ang dami kong sinabi. So one of the things that students consider when choosing their medical school is the type of learning that they will get in that medical school. So when we say type of learning, there are two things that are the most basic type of learning in medical school, which is the traditional and the problem-based learning. So in WVSU, we follow the traditional and problem-based learning, so it's a mix of the two. So the traditional learning method is the same as what we experience in college, wherein there is a lecturer or a doctor who will introduce us to the topics that we want to cover, and then we will be given self-directed learning times, or kung sa college, ito yung vacant times, for us to further read about it. So for example, if the teacher or the doctor teaches us about anatomy of the female reproductive organs, then she will introduce to us what are the specific topics that we have to focus on. Like for example, the uterus, the ligaments, its innervations, its blood supply, its venous drainage, and then after that, we have to understand also where does that stem from. Like for example, she will only give us the coverage of what is the structure, like the muscles, yung layers ng muscles, but it's up to us to understand what is the importance of those. Like for example, we have to correlate it to the biochemistry aspect, the physiology aspect, because yung questions kasi sa exams is not what part is this, what part is that. It's more of what is the function of this. So if I cut this, what will happen to this? Parang ganun. You have to be a critical thinker enough for you to understand how would one part or one aspect affect the other. So ganun yung topics sa medical school. So that's the traditional learning method. So they will give you the topics that you need to understand. They will introduce it to you, but it's up to you to dig deeper. So that's the traditional learning method. The other method that is being used in West Visayas State University's College of Medicine is the problem-based learning. So problem-based learning, actually one of the earlier institutions to implement that is WVSU. And in problem-based learning, mas ma-feel mo siya kapag you have your SGDs. So SGD sessions, I'm gonna be talking about that more in future videos. But for now, for you to understand it easily, problem-based learning is hindi na sila mag-give sa inyo ng topics for you to learn. But they know the topics, you will be the one to understand it further. So in a problem-based learning method, there will be a problem or a trigger. So a trigger will make you think outside of the box. And what's good about problem-based learning is that it does not only improve your learning about the topic, it also improves your critical thinking. That's what I really noticed. Because in problem-based learning, yung problem na ibibigay sa inyo, for example, is fever or jaundice or anemia, for example. It can be a word actually or a phrase, like for example, why does the stomach not digest itself if it is filled with acid? Kasi acidic yung tiyan natin. So parang ganun. So based on that trigger, yung binigay sa yung trigger, you will be given time to formulate your questions, share your knowledge in the group, kasi yung SUD is small group discussion, di ba? So you will have a chance to share your knowledge. Like for example, ito yung alam ko from this. Based on my experience, ganito yung iniinom naming gamot, yung ganun. So the things like that will be introduced to you on the first session. So there's two sessions. The first section yun yung gagawin ninyo. The second session is the time where you share your reading. So bale, there is a gap between the first and the second session. So first session yun yung ginawa ninyo. Then in the middle, the gap before the second session, that's at the time when you will be able to read for the second session, wherein you will share your knowledge to your group. Now, what's good about this? What's good about this is that you are able to make questions, formulate questions, identify the gaps of your learning in the first session. So for example, since naka-block system kami, which I will share in a bit, for example, yung topics namin for this week will be about the digestive system. So since digestive system yung topic namin this week, more likely yung trigger namin is related to the digestive system. Now, I will read a lot of it before the SGD. But what I read is not as important because it's just the first session. So first session, you will share the topics that you know about and the that are related to the trigger, and then you will be able to ask questions na hindi mo alam or baka alam ng kasama mo. So you list down your questions, and then from that you try to answer as many as you can, and there's no shame in hindi ka sure sa sagot mo, because that's the great thing about it. There's no blaming kapag mali yung pagkakaintindi mo, kasi may second session pa for you to correct it. And the fact that you felt wrong, I think, yung parang feeling mo hindi mo maintindihan, it helps because it makes you feel the need to study more. So that's what I really like about the problem-based learning. So yun. After the session, the first session, you give your answers, and then the things that you didn't understand, you will be able to list them down. You will be given time to read about them, and after reading about them, you share it to your group in the second session. Now, that's the problem-based learning. So it's really good because in WVSU before, like problem-based learning, like traditional learning method naman, and it works. And then a certain batch did the problem-based learning before, and it also worked for them, but they thought that it will be more appropriate and more effective if they did both. And I think it really is. So we have lectures and we also have SGD sessions. Now, that's all that I can share about the problem-based learning method, since first year pa lang naman ako and I don't have any idea about the second year. But as far as I know, the approach is different in the second year, kasi yung problem-based learning nila is unlike us na dalawa lang. So yung ginagawa namin is the first one is for brainstorming and identifying what you already know. And the second session is for correcting your knowledge, relearning, and sharing what you have learned. Now, in the third year, there is 3 sessions. The first one is the same lang, yung identifying what you don't know and what you know. Second session is for the sharing, and the third session is for the diagnosis and the treatment of the patient. So, basically, yung first year kasi namin is focused on normal anatomy, which we will share naman namaya. And yung second and third year is more on pathology. That's why there is the treatment na and diagnosis of the patient. Sa first year, walang ganun. Kasi we're focused more on the learning aspect of the normal human being or normal human functioning. So now let's go to the other thing that's unique about WVSU's College of Medicine, which is the block system. So what I know is the other medical schools have a specific schedule na pina-follow. Like for example, on your first year, you will learn about anatomy, physiology, and medical jurisprudence, and you will have a specific time. Like for example, in the week, the units mo is ganito. So you have 3 hours per day of anatomy, 3 hours a day for physiology, and like 2 hours a week for another subject and 2 hours for another subject. So it's focused on the general knowledge. So bali whole system yung aaralin mo. So if you're doing anatomy, it's not just the anatomy of the digestive system or anatomy of the lungs or anatomy of the heart. So in WVSU, what we do is not like that. What we do is we have 20 blocks, which will be divided for your 3 years of learning. So your learning in WVSU is divided into 2 parts: the normal physiology and the abnormalities, and yung pathology. So yung first year mo, that will focus on the normal physiology. That's why they always remind us to enjoy it, since we're just first years, because it's the only time that we will learn the normal anatomy. So what we have in SGDs is normal lang lahat. Wala kami halos na clinical correlates. Although there are clinical correlates, hindi naman siya dinadive deeper. We just have to understand what is the essence of that sickness. What we do is that we focus more on the normal. So instead of answering the pathological pathways of this sakit, o kung paano mag-develop yung sakit na to at paano siya gamutin, on our first year, we only focus on how the human body works without abnormalities. Normal lahat. On the second year and third year, it will focus on the abnormalities naman. So, yung larang normal, abnormal na lahat. You have to identify the pathophysiology, how does the sickness develop, how do we treat them. So, that's what happens on your second and third year in WVSU. That's what's unique about it. And since yung approach namin is not per subject, so hindi siya, on your first year, you'll learn about anatomy. On your second year, you have pediatrics and cardiology and churva. What we have is that in every block, and every year there is 6 to 8 blocks. So on your first year you will have 8 blocks, on your second year you will have 6 blocks, and third year 6 blocks. So the first year 8 blocks is focused on the human anatomy. So for example, the block 3 is biochemistry. So we're focused on the cell, how the cell functions, how is that relevant to the body functions. And on our fourth block, we focus on the musculoskeletal system. So we only focused on the muscles, how the muscles work, and what are the muscles in the body. The fifth block will be about neuro. Fifth block will be about neuro. Sixth block will be about cardio. So basically, what we do in those blocks na yon is that we focus on all of the aspects in that specific system. So hindi siya like anatomy for the first year, the whole first year. Anatomy lang pa-focus ko, walang physiology. Hindi ganon. So what we do is that since by system siya, each system we will tackle the anatomy, the physiology, and the biochemistry involved in that system. Example, if you are in a different medical school and your subjects for this year is anatomy and biochemistry, what you will learn is anatomy of the whole body, biochemistry of the whole body. Sa amin naman, since nakasystem kami, for this month, for example, whole month of May, we will study about the anatomy and physiology of the heart and the biochemistry of the heart. So what's good about it is that we have a system na focus lang kami doon. And I think it's also good for you if you're trying to look for the specialization that you want in the future, because since we tackle it per department or per body system, we have a good view of what is our future. Kasi syempre nakikita mo rin yung mga doctors na, for example, this month, puro kami opta. So, puro eye doctors yung makikita mo, and you'll see if ay parang ganito yung gusto kong gawing future ko. Like that. I think it's a good advantage. Now, if you notice, I didn't talk about Block 1 and Block 2, which is the first 2 months in medical school in WVSU. The reason is it's also unique. Now, in other medical schools, what they do is they introduce you to the topics already. Like, first week nyo will be about your orientation, how will you learn, what will be the coverage of your medical school. Sa amin yung parang ganyan namin is it lasts for a month, because Block 1 and Block 2 is an opportunity for you to be mentally ready. That's what they do in WVSU College of Medicine, which is, I think, a very good approach not to make us scared kapag medical students na kami, because on your first block, it's about medicine as an art and as a career. So it's creating your love for medicine. I think it's a good way to spark your love for the course that you're taking, because med school is very stressful, but since may Block 1 kami, we were able to equip ourselves with the stress handling techniques, which were taught to us also. We also had yoga classes. We also had different approaches to your stress levels. How can we be mentally prepared for medical school? Looking back at the reason why we started in medical school. So those things are very much important, and they were reflected upon us noong first year pa lang kami yun. First block and second block, which I think is nalagay ko sa vlog ko, so you can check that out. Then you will see na although stressed ako mag-aral and madami kaming ginagawa, those things na ginagawa namin ng first block and second block is not really directly involved in your process or in your profession as a medical doctor in the future, but it's involved in your personal life. Like, how will you handle your philosophy na? It's a good way for students to see that the patients or the people that they will be interacting in the future are not just study cases or case studies, or not just books na hindi lang sila what do you call this, parang hindi lang sila a problem na you have to fix. It's really a patient who has an emotion, who has feelings, who has struggles. So yeah, and what I would say na what's good about the first year pala is that we were exposed to the community already in a theoretical way. And since theoretical siya, it's just na we were able to have a sample case, like it's the worst of the worst. Like, for example, if your patient if your patient has living conditions like this, you can really blame them for their situation. And yeah, it's really a good way of starting your med school. It boosts you up. So ang dami ko na nasabi about Jan, and I think it's something that's really unique about WVSU's College of Medicine. It really enhances you. It really enhances your passion for medicine from the start, so that start up for your medical life will be enough for you to be fueled hanggang makagraduate ka. So yeah, that's something that's unique about it. Now, another thing about the block system, there are different durations of the block system. So usually there will be 3 blocks per semester, except for your first semester where you have 5 blocks. So block 1 to 5, you'll have to take it on your first year. Syempre hindi naman 20 lang yung subjects sa med school. We also have floating subjects or minor subjects kung tawagin ng iba. We have family medicine, medical jurisprudence, and legal medicine siya sa 3rd year. Pharmacy, I think, is also a floating subject in the 2nd year and 3rd year. Microbiology, parasitology, it will also be a floating subject. Now, what is a floating subject? Sila yung mga nag-last for the whole year round. Kasi yung block will only last around 2 to 3 months, while the floating subject will be 2 hours a week lang siya, 2 to 4 hours a week lang siya, tapos it will last for the whole year. Anyway, going back, the blocks, since the blocks last for 2 to 3 months lang, wala kaming finals and wala kaming midterms and finals. That's something unique about it also, because what we have is module exams and block exams. So in a block, I've tried my best to write it down there, guys, kasi mahirap siyang intindihan kasi it's very unique. So per block, there will be different modules, and each modules will have different lessons. So yung calendar namin looks like may schedule ka ng seminar. So for example, I'm currently in Block 8, and Block 8 will last for 4 weeks, which means that there is 4 modules. Pero there are modules na last for 2 weeks. So ginagawa ang 4.1 and 4.2, pero basically it's 4 weeks. So we have 4 weeks, pero we only have 3 modules because of a reason. Anyways, Block 8 has 4 weeks, 3 modules. So the first module is the genitourinary tract. So we focus on the kidneys, the genitals, konti lang sa genitals, more on the urinary tract siya. So for the whole week, we only focus on the urinary tract. So we study the physiology, the anatomy that are involved in the urinary tract. And then after that week, we will have our module exam. So in a week, there's around 1 to 10 lessons. So yung 10 lessons na yun, cover siya ng 1 module. So yung 1 module, you'll have to take it the next week on the first or second day, Monday or Tuesday, depending sa schedule. And after that, yung module exam mo will be 30% of your grade usually. Then you have to take another module exam weekly hanggang maubos nyo yung block. So usually mga 3 to 4 at least, kasi for yung pinaka-konti or short na block, tapos yung pinaka-mahaba would usually last 6 to 8. Now, at the end of the block, kung ubos nyo na yung modules nyo, yung kailangan nyong aralin for that block or that system, you will have your block exam. So yung block exam will cover the whole thing from the start of the block. So for example, if you covered sa block 8, we covered urinary tract on the first week or the first module, female reproductive system on the second week or the second module, and male reproductive system on the third week or the third module. We will cover all of this in the last or final exam of the block, which is the block exam. So usually meron mga blocks na would last from 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if your doctor is generous enough, or kapag medyo alam nilang kaya ninyo, they will give it to you na isang bagsakan lang, like isang whole block exam. So mahirap siya taasan yung score mo, and it will cover around 20% of your grade. But if it's too long, tapos na-feel nila na medyo mahirap yung exam, they will cut it in half. So, half of the, kung kunyari 8 weeks yung block, on the 4th week, you will have a sub-block exam and another sub-block exam on the 8th week para balance siya. Now, other than the lectures and the module exams, of course, they also have to hone your skills. So, we also have cadaver dissections, usually mga 2 times to 3 times a week. Noong first year lang yan, hindi siya nauulit ang second year. That's why it's important for you to enjoy it, kasi it's the only time that you will be able to learn about the normal physiology. And then, we also have correlates, laboratory correlates. Yung correlates namin usually are skills involved, and they are related pa rin sa block ninyo. For example, during our cardio week, or cardio block, we also had hematology na topic. And during the hematology topic, we also had to do CBC. We also have to do yung blood count, different methods in counting blood. And since cardio week din yon, we also had to do CPR, cardiorespiratory na training. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening. And also, since it's a mix of the traditional and problem-based learning method, meron din kaming SGDs from time to time. So usually, kung 4 weeks yung block, there's two SGDs or small group discussion. And then if malaki yung block, like 8 weeks, noong I think cardio yung 8 weeks, we also had to do 3 SGDs. So depending rin. So yeah, I think it's flexible enough for you to learn, pero the topics are very long, so you'll have to prepare yourself mentally. Yeah, I think I've covered much of the learning aspect. I know that one of the things that you will be concerned of is the tuition fee. Now, for the tuition fee, if you have seen posts online before, I think Visayas State University has one of the lowest tuitions, even reaching around 7,000 lang before. But right now, I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose it, but I think I can give you a range. So the range of the tuition fee and miscellaneous would be around 20 to 30,000. But hindi siya abot ng 30,000 actually, pero 20 to 30,000 para safe tayo dyan. But what's good about it is since it's a public state university, there's a lot of chance na makakuha ka ng scholarship. I'm actually under a scholarship right now. That's why I don't have to hustle anymore, because sometimes I have to look for ways to earn money just for me to be able to have extra income in case lang na hindi namin kayang bayaran yung education ko. But since I am in a scholarship which was offered by CHED, I don't have to worry much about my tuition anymore, my allowances. So yeah, So yeah, since it's a public medical school, there's a lot of chance of you earning a scholarship. So I think it's a good catch pa rin. And if you're worrying about the school's performance in terms of the PLE, they're doing well naman. They even have a lot of 100% rates before, and they also had produced over 2,000 doctors and 25 top-notchers, as you have seen in the earlier parts of the video. So yeah, I think it's a really good school. But of course, there are a lot of other aspects that you have to consider in choosing your school. And one of the things that I really am proud to tell about WVSU's College of Medicine is that the faculty and staff are very, very kind. Like, super. Yun talagang gusto kong i-share dito because what I feel right now is that I'm in an environment where I am encouraged to learn without having the pressure to learn. Although the fact itself that WVSU is a good performing school, I am already pressured with that. And the doctors don't have to put more pressure on us. So what they do is they are very feeling ko may pressure pa rin naman, pero the fact that they are accommodating and they give us the chance to learn and approachable lahat ng doctors. They give us explanations even through emails or Canvas instructor, and we can ask them for help all the time. So that's why I really, really like the learning environment. And it's not just the doctors. Yung librarians namin is so cool. We have this experience once na one of a friend of mine is looking for a specific book for a specific topic for the SGD, I think. And what happened is he asked the librarian for a specific book, and when they found it, the librarian kept giving him books na related pa rin sa topic, and they're very accommodating talaga. Like, I don't feel any pressure to study or to learn. I mean, I don't feel na parang pinahihirapan kami to study or learn. That's why I really, really like it, because we are given the chance to learn on our own pace with just specific parameters na kailangan naming abutin na I don't know how to explain it. Basta the school really made us feel na we are in a safe space for us to learn. Na it's okay to make mistakes. And that's what I really like about it, because I feel like that's the method na works for me. And of course, the other medical schools has a lot of other methods for you to feel that way. And yeah, but basically yun talaga yung reason ko bakit I am so happy here in WVSU, because I am given the chance to learn at my own pace, and I am given the opportunity to be able to learn it while being exposed to an environment na hindi ako pinahihirapan. Another thing that I like about it is the exposure to the communities. Now, one of the things that I didn't really much talk about is yung family and community medicine namin, which is a floating subject, as I have said earlier, or a minor subject, pero part siya ng PLE. And what I like about it is, inintroduce sa amin yung community medicine first year pa lang. So we have an exposure to the patients in the future first year pa lang. And what I like about that is that we're able to really see the reality of the communities in the Philippines. Because, for example, sa akin, nakasan ako sa isang relocation site in Iloilo City. Since we are exposed to the community, we are exposed to the people who are paying their taxes to support our education, since we are a public school. And it gives me a lot of drive to pursue this course, because med school is really hard, to be honest. There's a lot of times where you will be able to feel the struggle, the pressure, but the more that you are exposed to the community and the more that you learn about the Philippines, the more that you feel the need to study harder, because in the future you will be the key to help these people out. And yeah, that's one of the things that I really like about WVSU, because the community makes us more open to reality, that we are needed by the people, and that's the reason why we are here, to study medicine and to help the sick and the needy. To sum it all up, I like the methods that they use or the approach that they use in making us or helping us learn. I like that they are approachable, and the environment is very much student friendly. They are very much equipped with the needed materials for research, for your clinical skills, and a lot of those stuff. And lastly, the whole community itself, and the reason why I am in medical school is being repeated to me all the time. That's why I really like this medical school, kasi I feel like I'm in a place wherein I am humbled and I am trained to be able to give back to the community, and hopefully I will be able to do so, and I'm required to do so because of my scholarship. I think that's about it, and I hope that you choose Visayas State University College of Medicine as one of your options in choosing your medical school. Yeah, so that's it guys, and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to click the like button, share mo na rin sa mga friends mo. Also, leave some comments below for new video suggestions and insights on how would you choose your medical schools. And yeah, Bye. See
You
you next
got
time.
something I can't afford to lose.